The family barbecue should have been forgettable. Just another warm Saturday filled with smoke from the grill, children chasing each other across the yard, and polite conversations with people I barely knew. Instead, it became the day that completely changed the direction of my life. The moment still replays in my mind with perfect clarity. I laughed nervously after accidentally meeting her elegant mother for the first time and tried to ease the tension with a joke. I said that her mom was so graceful, confident, and accomplished that she was completely out of my league. I expected everyone to laugh and move on. Instead, the woman I had been secretly falling in love with looked directly into my eyes, smiled in a way that carried both warmth and challenge, and quietly told me to prove I was worth it. In that single sentence, everything changed. Before we continue, if you enjoy emotional stories about love, family, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share it with someone who believes kindness changes lives, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness so you never miss another heartfelt story. I had spent most of my life believing that love was earned through perfection. Growing up in a small apartment with a single father who worked endless shifts, I learned that survival mattered more than dreams. Fancy dinners, expensive vacations, and impressive careers belonged to other people. My father taught me honesty, hard work, and compassion because they were the only riches we could afford. Even after he passed away, those lessons stayed with me, but confidence did not. Every achievement I reached felt temporary, as though someone would eventually discover I was just an ordinary man pretending to belong in extraordinary places. Then Emily entered my life without warning. She wasn't impressed by titles or appearances. We met while volunteering at a neighborhood food pantry after a storm had damaged dozens of homes nearby. While everyone else rushed to organize supplies, she noticed an elderly man sitting alone, overwhelmed and embarrassed to ask for help. Without drawing attention to herself, she simply sat beside him until he smiled again. That quiet act of kindness revealed more about her than any conversation could have. Over the following months we became friends, then something more, though neither of us rushed to define what we were becoming. Eventually she invited me to meet her family during their annual barbecue. She mentioned that her mother, Victoria, could seem intimidating at first but possessed a generous heart beneath her composed exterior. I smiled politely, pretending I wasn't nervous, but the closer Saturday came, the more impossible sleep became. I owned only one decent button-down shirt. I ironed it 3 separate times, polished my old shoes until they reflected light, and rehearsed introductions while driving there. Her family's home looked like something from a magazine. Flowers lined the stone walkway, music floated through the backyard, and every guest seemed confident enough to belong there. I felt like an actor who had wandered onto the wrong stage. Emily welcomed me with a hug that immediately settled my racing heartbeat, yet the feeling returned the instant her mother approached. Victoria carried herself with remarkable confidence. She greeted everyone by name, remembered details about their lives, and somehow managed to make each person feel noticed. She wasn't intimidating because she was wealthy or elegant. She was intimidating because she seemed completely certain about who she was. That certainty highlighted every insecurity I carried. When Emily introduced us, I stumbled through my greeting before making the joke that would echo in my memory forever. I laughed awkwardly and said that her mother was clearly out of my league. Several relatives chuckled politely, but Emily simply smiled with gentle amusement before saying that if I truly believed that, I should prove I was worth it. Those words could have embarrassed me. Instead, they challenged something buried deep inside. For the first time, I realized nobody there had asked how much money I earned or what kind of car I drove. The only person measuring my worth was me. The months that followed became less about impressing her family and more about becoming the man I wanted to be. I worked hard at my engineering job, but I also started saying yes to opportunities that once frightened me. I volunteered more often. I enrolled in evening leadership classes. I visited my father's grave every Sunday, telling him about the progress I was making. Little by little, fear lost its grip. Unexpectedly, Victoria noticed before anyone else. Whenever I visited, she would ask thoughtful questions about my projects, the community center where I volunteered, or the mentoring program I had joined for teenagers without stable homes. She never praised me excessively. Instead, she listened carefully, making me realize that genuine respect grows quietly through consistent actions rather than dramatic gestures. One rainy afternoon, Emily called with worry filling her voice. Her mother had collapsed from exhaustion while coordinating a large charity fundraiser. The doctors assured everyone she would recover fully, but they insisted she slow down. Unfortunately, the fundraiser supporting hundreds of struggling families was only 2 weeks away. Without thinking twice, I offered to help. I had never organized anything close to that scale. Sponsors began canceling. Volunteers became discouraged. Deliveries arrived late. Every problem seemed determined to prove I wasn't capable. More than once I considered walking away before disappointing everyone. Then I remembered my father's words that courage wasn't the absence of fear but the decision to keep moving despite it. Each morning I arrived before sunrise. Each night I stayed until the last chair was folded away. Friends from the food pantry joined us. Local businesses donated supplies after hearing about the event. Teenagers I had mentored volunteered alongside retired teachers, construction workers, nurses, and college students. Gradually, the fundraiser transformed from one woman's responsibility into an entire community's mission. Victoria returned just 2 days before the event. She quietly observed without interrupting. I expected criticism because everything looked different from the way she usually organized it. Instead, I caught her wiping away tears as children decorated tables with handmade centerpieces instead of expensive arrangements. The fundraiser exceeded every expectation. Enough money was raised to repair damaged homes, provide school supplies, and stock the food pantry for months. Yet what everyone remembered wasn't the amount collected. They remembered neighbors standing beside strangers, proving that compassion multiplies when people believe in one another. Late that evening, after the last guests had gone home, Victoria asked me to walk with her through the empty community hall. The decorations were beginning to come down, leaving only scattered balloons and fading music in the distance. She admitted that when Emily first mentioned me, she worried I lacked confidence to handle life's inevitable storms. She wasn't searching for someone wealthy or powerful for her daughter. She wanted someone whose character would remain steady when circumstances became difficult. Watching me refuse to quit despite countless setbacks had answered every question she once carried. Those words healed wounds I hadn't realized were still open. For years I had searched for external approval, believing someone else needed to declare me worthy. Standing there, I finally understood that worth isn't awarded by status, money, or perfection. It is revealed through quiet integrity repeated every ordinary day. Emily and I continued building our life together, not because every challenge disappeared, but because we faced each one as partners. We celebrated victories, endured losses, and continued volunteering whenever possible because we never forgot the place where our story truly began. Years later, when we welcomed our first child, Victoria became the grandmother every child dreams of having. She filled our home with laughter, wisdom, and unconditional encouragement. Sometimes during family gatherings, someone remembers that awkward joke I made the first day we met. Everyone laughs, including me. The embarrassment faded long ago, replaced by gratitude for the lesson hidden inside that unforgettable moment. If I had never doubted myself, I might never have discovered the strength waiting beyond those doubts. Before this story comes to its close, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us about a moment when someone challenged you to become a better version of yourself. Your story could encourage someone reading the comments today. Life has a remarkable way of placing ordinary people in extraordinary moments. A single sentence, one unexpected challenge, or one act of kindness can quietly redirect an entire future. We rarely recognize those turning points while we're living them, but looking back, they become the chapters that define us most. I once believed I wasn't good enough for the people I admired. What I eventually learned was that love isn't asking us to be flawless. It asks us to keep growing, to keep serving others, and to keep choosing kindness even when no one is watching. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that true worth comes from character rather than appearances, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, subscribe to Ripple of Kindness, and leave a heartfelt comment below. Your support helps these stories reach people who may be searching for hope, healing, and the courage to believe in second chances. And sometimes, one story is all it takes to remind someone that they really are worth proving it to themselves.